Hello, welcome to LinkedIn Live Show. I'm doing these after a long time, and today we are talking about how to initiate radical thinking in the people that you lead. I am Monica Vegalam. I'm an executive and leadership coach. And in my work, I have been coming across a lot of questions about okay, how do I inspire people to think differently? How do I lead people to a different way than they are already reliable and predictable to do? So that's our live show, and we'll cover a few topics. But before we cover any topic, the I'll give you like a small model of what actually causes people to not think differently, like why are they stuck in the current thinking, and then we'll go on to see like why other models are not so effective at creating leadership. So I've been doing this work for about 4 years. I have my own coaching practice where I coach managers, leaders, some coaches, and other creatives and community leaders as well. In my private practice, I do this one on one. So I've noticed a lot of themes in my work, and also in my own work with my coach, and looking at how I have, like I do things that keep me at a certain level. So the first thing is that people, all of us, like all humans, we have a certain particular pre-programmed ways of thinking. So if I am always reliable to working hard to make money, I will always pursue opportunities where um, where working hard is rewarded with money, and then I join companies like that, and then what that creates is my whole life based on that sort of thinking. Like people around me are always working hard, and I have role models who work hard, and my friends would be doing that, and there are certain people who would be not working hard and making a lot of money, and I would kind of like dismiss them as they're lucky, or they just happen to create something, or they just happen to have an environment where that's supported. So you see, like our thinking determines what we do, and then what we do determines our environment, and our environment reinforces our thinking. So there's like a cycle going on, because of which our life is programmed in a certain way. And the most surprising thing about this is that I can, like, things around me can change, but the base experience of it kind of remains same. So, for example, I like graduate from high school, I go into college, and then I go into a job, and then I go into like a different job, and then I become a manager or I become a leader, and I have a nice house, I have cars, or I have, now I'm a parent. But like outside circumstances might change, but the base level of experience that comes with a certain type of thinking remains the same, and it it keeps life in a particular limited context. So that's what you're dealing with when you talk about you know like self, or even other people that you're leading. So how do we get people out of their programmed ways of thinking into like some radical new ways that would support whatever goals and dreams that you have? um, a few things. One is questioning what creates this sort of pre-programming, right? Like almost like, I think now a lot of people are aware that um, our childhood kind of determines how we think. The environment we grow up in, whether that's our family culture or our peers, those almost kind of determine our base level of perception and how we view the world. For example, I grew up in a middle class Indian household, and that determines so much of how I spend money, how I relate to other people, how I make friends, and how I don't make friends, and how much I go out, and how much I travel, how much I don't, and what kind of opportunities I pursue. All of that is based on how I grew up. Now, that's like one, I don't know, Freudian model, maybe you can consider, but it informs a lot of different coaching and therapy models about self reflection, awareness, and then um, and going, creating something new sort of thinking. So, so the first order of business is to first understand this basic assumption that people have a pre-programmed set way of thinking, and that's determined by what we have seen, what we have learned, and the emotions that we have stored. So basically, it's the past. The past determines our current thinking. Now, in workplace, when you want to lead people to a different way, you are rubbing against this past, and it's really hard. Like, even if you take the most smartest and brilliant people, they nobody can outthink their thoughts. Like, we all have blind spots, and those blind spots are determined by nature, nurture, past. I mean, like, different ways. There's like, this conversation is not about where all of that comes in, but basically there's a past we have, and that determines the current level of thinking that we have. And in the current marketplace, or the current solutions for changing our current thinking into creating like an innovative way of approaching life, or innovation in your team, or in your company, in your organization, or in your family, depends on how much you are able to move this thinking, or how much you are able to get people to a different way of operating in the world. So if you want to, like, let's say if you have a goal of releasing a new product in the next, I'm making this up, but in the next 1 year, let's say you want to take a preview product into market the next 1 year. That means that you have to inspire people, and you have to like give them a reason, give them a vision, and then move them towards working in particular ways so that you can achieve this goal. And you will rub against their current thinking again and again and again. And the current models, the current solutions to address this is one, therapy. And second, that I have identified is all this self-help section that we have in when we go to a, like, all the business self-help, where we are given advice, tips, and strategies to make sure you're successful in your goals. And then third is some coaching models. So we look at one of each of these. First, therapy is super useful for people who keep getting stuck in the same place. When we are talking about, let's say, procrastination, anxiety, or some people when they have trauma and when they keep getting triggered at workplace. In all of these situations, therapy is useful to kind of really help them heal their past, so they can start to um, see a different, um, they can start to be more calmer and more peaceful, even in situations that are not so dangerous. Excuse me. Wow. Nice. I think that was a nice cough for a live show. So, therapy kind of addresses the past, and a lot of it is almost necessary right now. And thank God it is such that the like it's more widely accepted in our culture that lot of us need therapy, and that's okay. And it's okay to go and talk to someone and get support on our emotional and mental health. So um, so I find now I'm hearing and finding that a lot of leaders are getting therapy for loneliness, for anxiety issues, for any number of personal reasons, and it's amazing. I think we are at a very good place that we have all these avenues of support, and we can kind of let go of the past. So therapy addresses the past. But the problem with therapy is that people think that they can get therapy and everything will be better somehow magically. It is true to an extent. You can become very, very peaceful, and your emotional experience can kind of you'll find great relief in the emotional experience. But what if it is not based on a future that you are moving towards? Therapy can kind of plateau you. And lot of current science based therapy approaches I have found take a long time for people to like significantly shift their experience. So, when we talk about leadership or well being support in companies, I find that therapy is not quite enough. Like managers talk to some people on their team that may be going through a divorce, or maybe um, facing a lot of health issues, or facing a lot of triggers and emotions at the workplace. And they say, hey, these are the resources, mental health resources for our company, why don't you go use them? It's a great conversation, great redirection, but and it heals them, and it also doesn't quite pull people into a different way of thinking. It just kind of helps them become more calmer. So that's been my experience. If you're a manager, and if you're a people leader, and you've had a different experience with therapy, or you've seen people change a lot, like that propels them to almost innovating and a new way of thinking. If that has been the case for you, I would love to hear from you. Tell me how it went, or tell me what you've seen, what your experience has been. And I really want to know. So that's about therapy. And a lot of people leaders think that, okay, mental health is important, I am going to be an advocate for mental health for people. um, uh, I really support that and encourage that. And I'm also saying that it's not enough. If you want to create a team which innovates a lot, which thinks quite differently, and which goes after ambitious goals, that's the context around why this is not enough. Okay, then the next second way that people approach change, shifting people's mindset or thinking, is through consulting advice and kind of training and self-help. Now these are great. Like people read radical books like Radical Candor, or uh, certain frameworks, and there is the grow model of coaching from Google, where managers try to coach people, coach their team through the one-on-ones. These are again like really good starting points. And the problem I find with these is that there is a quote. There is a quote by, I think, Albert Einstein, that says that you cannot solve. I'm totally butchering this. You cannot solve a problem at the same level of thinking that it was created. It requires a radically new way of thinking. That means that you have to be asking different sort of questions. You have to be looking at problems that are currently invisible, currently that you don't have access to. You have to be um, looking outside of your blind spots, which is by nature almost impossible, right? How can, like, the nature of blind spot is that you cannot see what you cannot see. So though these give like tactical strategic solutions, and in fact grow model is amazing in terms of start making your one-on-ones better. Look at this, right? Even the grow model is goal, which is what do you want, reality, what's happening now, options, what could you do, w is what will you do. So it's very like what's your goal, and moving them towards action in terms of um, hey, what options are you considering and what will you do, like getting accountability and commitment from other people, which is nice. But and it can be a bit challenging, and it can also be supportive for other people. But the problem I find is that it can keep people searching for solutions at the same level of thinking, in the same frame of thinking that they already are. And then that's when people are like, I don't know, I can't find a solution at all for this. My PM is saying this, my manager is saying this, and this person on my team wants to leave, and I have no option at all. I don't know what options I need to consider. And I hear this so much from managers, especially when they are so overwhelmed supporting so many people. And then when we try to like find solutions from that place, it almost like uh, gives very limited solutions. For example, if I am of the belief that working hard leads to success, then all the options that I consider are going to fall into that frame of thinking. So I will start to push my team harder to work harder, and I will promise my manager that I will work harder, and I will take all the feedback from the PM, and say that okay, I think we are not working harder, and we will do that, and here's where you can do too. Let's go, and all of that kind of like the options stay at working hard, and that's what results in so much burnout, overwhelm, and people not being available to anything else. So that's the problem I find with grow model. And any other like strategies and tips, and limited level of coaching. Don't get me wrong, this is better than nothing. I think like if your one-on-ones are just about catch up or just about status updates, a grow model is much better. Please, if you're not already aware, please go look into it, and I highly recommend it. but it's not powerful enough that it shifts people's mindset. All right. So we've covered therapy, we've covered consulting, advising, and a little bit of coaching sort of models. So, one of the things about coaching, one of the things which I love about coaching is like it's very future oriented as opposed to therapy, which is past oriented. So, so when we think about this is I am wanting to go there. That becomes like I'm at a point A and I want to go to point B. That becomes like the drive or the thing that is pulling forward some creativity and innovation from us. So it's not just staying at where you are. It's also like the future is pulling you forward into a different kind of paradigm. But these tools that I have mentioned do kind of an okay job at it, not as much. All right, let's see. What's the other topic that I said? We are going to talk about what's required to move your people to new levels of thinking and leading. The first thing I find in my executive coaching practice is to work on yourself first before you move other people. As in, what are the worldviews that are keeping you limited in your current world? You might be thinking that you might have some beliefs that the one I we have been talking about, right? Working hard results in money. Working hard is the only way to get success. Working hard is only way to build a successful company. Or beliefs such as feedback is a gift. It's a good belief to have, but it limits you after a certain point to do certain things. Beliefs about collaboration, how other people should collaborate with you. Beliefs about agency, how much responsibility one should be taking to be a successful person. How much responsibility should other people be taking to be successful. So we call this like context, like it's the vantage point, it's the lens through which you view the world, it's the filters through which you receive anything, through which you act, and through which you speak. And any belief is limiting. I can have the best belief in the world, and there will be a case or there will be a goal where that belief becomes limiting. So the first order of business for anyone to start, creating innovation in teams or in the people you lead, or even in your family, is to first be a clearing for innovation. So we use the word clearing. What that means is that you work on yourself first to see where you are limited, where you are not innovating, where you are not radically thinking in new ways. Like you start to like address that and then stand strong in that. And then you will be able to see where other people are kind of stuck. And this is very this can be very very hard to see, um, because our old there's all this information coming at us that directly contradicts it. So for example, there's like very popular advice about listen more, right? Listen to what people are saying. You need to get better at listening. I need to improve my listening. And then that becomes a limiting belief for a lot of people I coach, because first of all, before you listen to others, you need to be able to listen to yourself. Instead, so there is always like something that is getting in the way of your listening. Like you're listening a particular way. So instead of trying to listen better on top of it, and then beating yourself up about, oh, I didn't get that from this person, or I am not listening to them properly. um, if you instead like shift what is in the way of your listening, you listen much better than otherwise. And another thing that gets in the way, that people try to listen better through, or let me put it a different way, like people try to listen better, but then they don't understand, for example, that some people will just keep talking, and you'd be frustrated at like, oh my god, I am listening to this person, but they just never seem to be done. I don't know what to do. Okay, maybe I should listen better then. So that becomes like a blind spot, because you need to know like what's getting in the way of the other person, um, and listen to that. So there are like so many nuances in this, and all of that nuance comes to light when you start to understand your worldview, what created success for you so far, and then start to like let go of that, and then start to create a new worldview. As you are in that practice, you will start to notice that other people are coming from a fixed worldview that is getting in the way of that kind of thinking. So yeah, so like the point here is that first you start to look inwards and look at what are the beliefs I have, what kind of listening I have, what are the actions I keep taking out from those beliefs, and what kind of environment am I creating for myself. And most often, like perfect, we talk about things like perfectionism, people pleasing, burnout, overwhelm, all like all of them come from a particular worldview. And now I'll not go into like the roots of it today, but that's what I wanted to introduce you to. How to create radical thinking in other people is to first create radical thinking in yourself. It's not just like this. I'm not minimizing the problem or saying that okay, you just do that, but it's a way to learn how humans operate. It's kind of like understanding psychology, or how others are being. So that's what I have for you today. And essentially, this kind of understanding or rising above your current level of thinking, that is leadership, because it requires a certain vision in the future that you see. And then it requires you to move forward to that vision, and let go of your current thinking. And when you do that, you will be able to have and generate so much influence and impact for others that you'll be able to kind of pull them to walk with you towards that vision. So, if you want to get into more of that kind of work, connect with me, and we can chat more. Otherwise, I lead some workshops. I have one coming up next week. No, sorry. It's in the first week of June, and I'll put it in the comments for you to register if you're interested. And I also do this work with individuals or teams. So if you want some training, or if you want to lead your people better and want to introduce this into your teams and into maybe even your personal relationships, um, or like the systems that you're part of in your organizations or communities, send me a DM, and we can chat more. And hope you all have a great Friday and rest of the weekend. I'll see you next time.